Okay, so hi guys, I'm Ryan Mattock, co-founder of CommissionCrowd, and today I'm joined by Deepak Shukla
Hey guys.
and Joe Barr.
Hey guys.
It's great to have you here, and thank you very much for joining me. So, Deepak's founder of a company called Pearl Lemon, and they're an award-winning digital marketing and SEO company based in London. And Joe is an experienced and highly successful independent sales professional. So, I hear that you've both been enjoying a rather successful working relationship since connecting on CommissionCrowd, and I would absolutely love to find out more about that today. So, Deepak, you're a TEDx speaker, you're a serial entrepreneur, but maybe you could tell us a little bit more about your company, Pearl Lemon, and why you decided it was time to work with independent sales professionals.
Definitely. So thanks for the introduction, by the way. I feel a bit embarrassed now. I'm like, it's weird hearing those things about yourself. You're like, really? So hey guys, yeah. So I run a company called Pearl Lemon. We predominantly do SEO. It's expanded into lead generation and some other bits and pieces. So we're moving towards being more full service. We've been in operation since October of 2016, I guess formally. We became kind of more focused about a year later, so around October 2017, and we have, previous to CommissionCrowd, ultimately the business, I guess, grew in its early stages as a result of the sales I was doing myself for the business, using the stuff I'd learned practicing for the TEDx talks to try and, position our services as being, the go-to or the de facto agency to use. The challenge came really in around the late 2018 stage, where as happens with many I guess freelancer who decides that they want to become agency owner, that you become a little bit of a victim of your own success when you're on the phone or you're positioning your own services, in that you get quite busy, and something has to give, whether it's your the sales side or the delivery side. And that was where the challenge came in, and working out the best process to grow the business. So operationally we were relatively, and we have been and continue to be, relatively strong, but on the sales side, I'll admit, Pearl Lemon were weak. There was me, and I was becoming the bottleneck to the business. So previous to discovering CommissionCrowd, to be honest with you, Ryan, I went on this journey. My first engagement with a sales, with a freelance sales professional, shall we say, would have been a chap called Richard, who was based out of Durban in South Africa. I think I found him via Upwork, and I remember bringing him on. It was on a pay-per-hour role, and he had issues, I think, with internet connectivity. The VoIP applications weren't working. I then switched to, so that was through Upwork. I then tried various outsourced kind of agencies based in the Philippines, and beyond appointment setting, it didn't really work as well as I wanted to in terms of building up a rapport on the phone. So I tried Upwork, I tried People Per Hour, I tried Indeed, I tried work in startups. I met and interviewed a whole range of people, and it just wasn't really working for me. So I then defaulted to, the normal kind of defensive position of being kind of alone. And that was when I was told that there was this world that existed, that you could get highly motivated sales professionals who did work on commission only. And I just initially called BS on it. I thought, that's not true. Just it doesn't work. And that was actually, through discovering that, you immediately Google it. You guys rank quite well for some of these keywords, commission only sales people, commission only sales professionals. And that was where I got to know about CommissionCrowd. And literally, my business has transformed, in terms, we definitely made significant revenue jumps. We were a small agency going from maybe the, with me, myself and I being on the sales front, it was probably at the, 15 to £25,000 a month mark. And, we've since been able to basically double that as a consequence of, what has turned out to be a really, really solid decision in taking kind of a leap of faith and getting invested onto the CommissionCrowd platform. And, thankfully enough, by some luck, Joe was actually one of the first people that I met through the platform. So that's kind of the backstory of my journey with CommissionCrowd.
Excellent, excellent. And, you know, we were in very much the same position as you were, you know, back in the day before CommissionCrowd, where, you know, we actually ran an internet marketing company as well. We really struggled to find, or we found people that claimed to be independent, self-employed, but they were either kind of desperate for work or you know, weren't truly willing to work on a commission-only basis. So that was one of the reasons why we built CommissionCrowd. So it's fantastic to hear, you know, a similar story and that you're seeing success with it. So, you know, maybe on the flip side, Joe, could you give us a little bit of an insight into your background and why you decided to become a self-employed sales professional?
Yeah, absolutely, Ryan. And I suppose my journey is very different to Deepak's in a sense, because, you know, I was a sales professional. I was working in a corporate sales environment, and I had done pretty much, you know, since I started out on my career, I just landed in a sales job. Unfortunately, I did pretty well in it. Well, I suppose there's the side of fortunate and unfortunately, and that wasn't originally my career goals or plans. And I just realized that I was quite good at sales. So that developed, and I led me into a corporate sales career, which meant that I was able to move to Spain, and that's where I'm living today. So it really just kind of transformed into me being a sales professional. And after I moved to Barcelona about 8 years ago, I was working for a company here called Marcus Evans, which were a very, let's say they're a very big sales organization focused on events. They had quite a good commission structure, but overall the company itself, in terms of the management, wasn't something that aligned with my values. So I decided to leave that company, and I was literally looking for other opportunities where, you know, I could work as a sales professional within Barcelona. And at the time, basically there just wasn't very many opportunities. They were quite limited in terms of being an English-speaking sales professional, and also if there were opportunities, the actual salary, the amount that I would be compensated was pretty low. So I chose to do a bit of research. I was looking on Google, finding, you know, different job postings, and that's what led me to CommissionCrowd. And I signed up, didn't really hope for much, because you know, on the flip side of Deepak, you know, like kind of looking for jobs in this manner, I had gone to other areas where there were postings in a similar manner. I think you got HubSpot, Staff Talent. I can't remember the exact name of it. There's another one called a French one. I can't remember the name of it. And the placements or the job postings were pretty poor, and the responses I got from people were not so great. So yeah, I wasn't expecting much actually from CommissionCrowd. And then Deepak was one of the first people that I reached out to me eventually, and we made a connection. And yeah, the rest is history.
Excellent. So, I mean, Joe, you know, digital marketing, it's a very, very competitive industry, as you know, as we all know. So what really stood out to you about Pearl Lemon? I mean, obviously you're based in Barcelona, they're based in London. What really stood out, you know, from the rest of the digital marketing companies for you?
If I'm completely honest, Deepak, because there are quite a few digital marketing agencies on CommissionCrowd, and there are a lot of opportunities. Like you say, it's a very competitive space. I think what stood out about Pearl Lemon is the fact that they had case studies. They had a really big online presence. They had reviews from customers, and a lot of reviews that were positive, which told me, you know, that this was a firm that was operating correctly and it had a process. Unlike, you know, some of the other experiences I had with previous firms. and really, there was also the fact that they were an award-winning agency, you know, number one on Clutch for digital marketing, I think, or SEO. So all of that really stood out. But I would say the biggest thing was the fact that anywhere you looked, there was, you know, videos of Deepak talking about Pearl Lemon, which really, you know, gave me an insight into what he felt about the organization and the way he worked and the way he ran Pearl Lemon.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I completely agree. So, I mean, that, you know, that's one of the reasons we have quite a stringent vetting process on CommissionCrowd, because it's very important to protect our database. You know, we really need to have high quality opportunities, you know, for salespeople. It's a two-sided marketplace, obviously. And in order to attract high quality salespeople, you need to have high quality opportunities and vice versa. So, you know, it's fantastic to have Deepak's company, you know, on CommissionCrowd as well. And, you know, talking about that, you know, what have sales been like up to now? You know, I hear it's been going very, very well. I think you're actually working with a couple of salespeople, Deepak. But I mean, you know, let's talk about.
Sure.
Let's talk in general. You know, how are sales going in general from the agency?
No, absolutely. So, kind of brass tacks. I think that I met Joe in maybe April or May of 2019. It was my first experience with bringing someone on a commission-only basis. So there was a setup process, I presume, in building out documentation and supporting materials that just didn't exist. So that actual whole process was really good operationally for Pearl Lemon, because I needed to build sales training material. So Joe understood the Pearl Lemon process. I needed to build proposals that, you know, Joe could use and modify independently of me. So there was a whole transition that had to occur to ultimately grow the business operationally. And that has allowed us then to ultimately, you know, generate, you know, much better returns. So to answer your questions, yes, I got introduced to Eon, who's a friend of Joe's, who's also on CommissionCrowd. Joe introduced me. There's a chap called Michael Bell that I started working with recently on CommissionCrowd. I think he came in maybe about a month ago, and there have been others that, you know, come and gone. Some I've had less success with. You know, Joe's definitely, you know, is right up there at the top of the pack. I think in terms of contract value, it's been over £100,000. In terms of money banked, it's probably been about £40,000. A large bulk of that actually came. If Joe came in on May, then I think it was June, July, August that he brought in, I think, around £20,000 plus banked in actual money in the bank, and then, you know, ongoing contract value, which, you know, I peg it at, assume a 3-month churn, which tends to not be the actual average for our agency, but I like to kind of underplay it. So yeah, it's been really great, and I think that the confidence that has given me has actually given me a lot more freedom as a business owner, because I do know that, you know, someone like, you know, Joe coming in, you know, that what's great is, you know, A, the numbers speak for themselves, of course. B, I know that, you know, Joe, especially with the remote nature of the applicants that you get on CommissionCrowd, Joe is very, of course, comfortable digital. Joe's got a background actually where he has done some programming for himself. He works within the space and actually enjoys SEO. So that's proven to be, as well as the lead generation side of the business. So, you know, what was really great also was that, you know, Joe was a candidate who was an extremely good fit in terms of his industry knowledge. He was a fit culturally as well. I think that, you know, one of the things that was important for the onboarding process with CommissionCrowd, which was excellent, by the way, I don't remember the name of the chap that kind of onboarded me, but he really gave me, you know, examples of excellent profiles on CommissionCrowd. He outlined, you know, some of the things that he felt were critical to ensuring that we get the highest caliber of candidate that kind of came in. And, you know, Joe was, you know, we had several good applications that came in, but, you know, what was great was, you know, Joe reached out to me, I think, on WhatsApp, and we had some of our initial conversations there. And, you know, I was, you know, sold on CommissionCrowd, and I was also sold on Joe. And correspondingly, you know, the results have followed, and it's just great knowing that, you know, I've got one platform that is my go-to now. You know, if I need someone or if I have an opportunity where we're bringing in some inbound leads or we're generating the leads, that I can of course, directly go to Joe as my first, port of refusal. And as I've now been able to develop more time because I'm not on the phone, before CommissionCrowd, being honest, Ryan, I was on the phone for 5 or 6 calls a day, every day. And it was bloody exhausting because I was not only doing the sales calls, I was delivering. So it was an absolute nightmare. And that's allowed me to develop the business, which ironically then allows me to generate more leads, which allows me to go back to CommissionCrowd to bring in more people. So it's been a really positive experience.
Absolutely. And, touching on the kind of method of sales, I was going to ask, so, I mean, Joe, do you, obviously, Deepak, you were mentioning leads, so you're an SEO company, digital marketing company, so you do have a presence online, so you've got inbound leads. Yeah. And, I think it's very important that you're only handing those leads over to agents that are, you feel comfortable with them representing your company in the right way.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask Joe as well. I mean, do you, talking about a little bit about maybe your sales portfolio, I mean, do you have existing networks that you can sell into? Do you represent other companies that maybe complement digital marketing? I mean, how do you make your sales?
Yeah, look, great question, Ryan. And look, I definitely have an existing network of people, from previous experiences. And as Deepak pointed out, I have experience in programming. I already had quite a like some of my own ventures into digital marketing, SEO. I built people websites, was working with people on websites. So it all kind of complemented. It all kind of complemented the fact that when working with Deepak, it was on a digital marketing product, which I had obviously experience in. Now, in terms of the way I do my own sales and generate my own sales, because I'm working on other projects and from experience, I can generate my own leads. I have experience generating my own leads, and I'll happily do that via a number of different channels, whether that's, working with campaigns on LinkedIn, whether that's just cold calling, doing it the old school way and just getting on the phone to people and letting them, know about a product or service. But actually, one of the reasons that I really, liked working with Pearl Lemon and Deepak specifically is the fact that, he was able to provide qualified leads, inbound leads. Now, I think what's important as a commission-only caller is that, time is of absolute essence. And of course, your extensive network, reaching out to people, the low-hanging fruit to say are great to, generate that immediate interest. And, as a commission-only sales caller, the revenue, the money that's going to go into my bank and obviously pay my bills at the end of the day. And what was, great about the opportunity with Deepak is the fact that he was providing warm leads, people that had shown an interest in his product. I was able to, get a lot of information prior to the call about them, the conversations that had been had, and at what stage we're at. So, it kind of made my whole job a lot easier as a salesperson, and really just allowed me to focus on what I do best, which is, get on a call and convince people to buy digital marketing products. Well, especially in the Pearl Lemon case. And of course, I am working on other things as well as a commission-only caller. I work with actually a couple of other companies as well on CommissionCrowd, and nearly every company that I've chose to work with, I do prefer to have leads provided. I think it shows that, there is a commitment on the company side to assist with the salesperson and, give to have a bit of kind of skin in the game, because from both sides, really, the ultimate goal is to, make money for the company. And for me as a commission-only caller, I need to, focus on, making money as fast as possible as well. And of course, that being said, I will, use my extensive network. I can obviously use other, methods to do that. But kind of repeating myself here, but one thing that did stand out about Pearl Lemon was the fact that it was warm leads, and the opportunities I've chose to work on have been the ones with leads provided.
Absolutely great. It's really, really important to us that, again, back to the kind of vetting process when we bring companies on board, because, the number of companies that want to join us, it's staggering. It really is. And, we're on a daily basis, we're having to turn people away who want to pay us for a membership, which is heartbreaking, but it's necessary, to make CommissionCrowd into a success. Very early stage startups or companies that haven't even launched yet might not be suitable to working with independent salespeople. Like you say, it's highly beneficial when a company invests in marketing, they support the salespeople, they're established, there are minimum sales values in place, and it's a big part of what we do is education. So companies that come to us that are maybe in the very, very early startup stages, we're able to help them and to guide them and to educate them and to bring them up to that, maybe not give them a membership right away, but we have other resources in place where we can help them to get there. So I guess, just kind of on an end note, Deepak, what advice would you give to companies that are looking to grow and increase their sales, and apart from just joining CommissionCrowd?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that empathy is really an important thing that I think sometimes companies that are considering bringing on commission only sales people don't consider. What I mean by empathy in this context is empathizing with an independent sales professional and recognizing that you need to have their incentives, at the top of your mind. Joe is, as he outlined, working with several businesses. Joe makes a living based upon the amount of deals that he can close on a monthly basis. And as with any professional anywhere, you're always going to go after the lowest hanging fruit. And what that practically means is that, one of the things that, we still continue to do as a business is every Friday we'll hop on a call, and the whole focus of the call, if I'm being honest, Ryan, is me finding out how I can serve Joe more effectively, me finding out how I can support him to, make the sales process as efficient as possible to ensure that Joe can walk into a phone call having the best chance to close. So what that means in terms of, companies that are looking to expand their sales force or to increase, their sales ultimately is, do you have, a company organizational chart? Do you have company slide decks? Do you have a calendar booking system? Do you have SMS automation? Do you have email follow-ups? Do you have examples of pre-recorded calls? Do you have documents for objection handling? Do you have all of these resources that you can effectively package to support your sales professional? And, that's really, I think, been a great education for me. Just the mere fact that I knew that to keep Joe, interested and incentivized with working with Pearl Lemon, that those things needed to be in place as standard to ensure that this became a successful relationship. And, granted, it's been a work in progress since Joe and I first met back in May of 2019. But certainly as, I posted on Facebook as well as, just spoken to my network about my successes with CommissionCrowd, as you can imagine, I get, friends who say CommissionCrowd, worth it, not worth it. Or they say, oh, Deepak, so I can get commission guys only from there. And the biggest hindrance I see to these companies or individuals succeeding with CommissionCrowd is that there's perhaps a little bit of an assumption that you can skip some of those processes to then still get the highest caliber salesperson. But the reality is that Joe's going to always work with an organization who provides warm leads, who provides a sales framework, of course has a good product, and I think it's about making sure that you do things in the right order. And as you said about some of the businesses that you do turn away, my biggest advice is, if you're watching this and you're thinking about working with CommissionCrowd, to absolutely sign up. Also, though, to make sure you get the highest caliber person from CommissionCrowd, make sure that you it's as simple as it might sound, dotted your I's and crossed your T's, and practically there's all of those pieces that form part of the sales process. And I think that, that's probably been an education that's been given to me inadvertently by my whole journey with getting introduced to CommissionCrowd, being onboarded, being told about Deepak, it's good to, place your retainers in your contract. And I'd never even written out documentation like that before, because I'd never really had to involve anyone other than myself. So it's definitely been a good journey. And that's one that continues. Even before our call today, I was asking Joe about how of, some of our campaigns going on LinkedIn. And he's like, Deepak, your team have been sending out some rubbish messaging. So I was like, fantastic. I'm now going to, Joe and I are now going to have a follow-up call after we're off with you, Ryan, to work out, Joe's smiling because it's literally what just happened. But these are the things that really need to happen. And I do see that a lot of kind of other agency owners that I work with that are in the same network, they bring in a salesperson, and I was like, they don't have a slide deck. They just expect the person to be able to sell. And you know what? Then there's high attrition. Then the sales professional leaves. And then they, say, oh, it's a platform, it's CommissionCrowd, or it's a salesperson. And 90% of the time, it's improper processes that, aren't in place that contribute to a person's downfall. So I'd say that that's probably my best advice that I'd give for how you can really get the best success from a platform like CommissionCrowd, and then individuals that are extremely skilled like Joe that present themselves once you're signed up with you guys.
Absolutely, and it's great to hear that as well, because excuse me, it's really about partnership. It's a win-win partnership, and that is the word, partnership. It's got to be beneficial for the agent. It's got to be beneficial for the company. There is a stigma attached to working commission only. The people that knock on your door at 6 o'clock at night when you're eating dinner, trying to sell you a hairbrush or a toothbrush. It's very, very different. And I think because CommissionCrowd is a SaaS platform, sometimes people do think, well, you pay for it, you find a cheap salesperson, and they start selling, and it's that's very much not the case. So
it just doesn't work. It just absolutely. I've tried that before. I tried to get people and not pay them very highly, and then I tried to get people that were in office, but we're a remote company. So then I never even had an office, and I think that you speak about those pieces, and I think that it's been such a powerful kind of process for us, which is why I was even telling people independent of this call, I had people saying, Deepak, has CommissionCrowd been worth it? They're like, is it worth the money? Can you really get good salespeople on the platform? And it's a resounding yes and yes, but someone like Joe will sit through a call, but you need to sell him on what you can offer Joe as well. And then for someone like Joe, if I know I can bring him a high quality of lead and that they've been educated to a degree before they've talked to Joe, then it's been a win-win for us. And I'm only really being honest, unless your platform suddenly disappears, I'm going to just keep using the platform to find hopefully other people down the line like Joe, as and when the opportunity makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of the opposite, of the traditional interview. It's no longer the companies interviewing the salespeople. Obviously, that is part of the process. But it's the other way around now, where the company has to sell their sales opportunity to the agent, and the way they can do that, like you've been doing, is by providing all of the support, all of the marketing, and everything else that you've been providing. And Joel, what would you give to salespeople that are maybe in employment at the moment, but they want to maybe earn higher or more money by becoming self-employed, building portfolios of multiple companies? What would you give? What advice would you give, seeing that you've done it, to make that transition?
Oh, that's a difficult question. Look, and I'm going to be completely honest, it isn't for everybody. Some people are just happy in the 9 to 5, standard job, go to work, get told what to do, and get that, paycheck at the end of the month. And I think, if somebody's comfortable with that and they don't have, an urge to to do anything else but that, then really I think you shouldn't, lead that. I think, with somebody like me as a salesperson, and I wouldn't just call myself a salesperson, I would say, I'm pretty, self-motivated, entrepreneurial. I like to be involved in other things, and the 9 to 5 really just doesn't fit with the way I work. So what I would say to people is, look, if you've got that ability, that sales ability, and you are somebody that is comfortable with your sales skills, and you do have an extensive network, and you want to explore working with other many companies and not just one company, and able to help a bunch of different companies within different industries grow and increase their revenue, and want to be involved in organizations in a way where you're not just a bum on a seat, and you are somebody that is going to be respected in a way, in a much different way to what you would be if you're just working for the standard bog standard corporate kind of sales environment. Then my advice would be just to make sure that when you do go for it, that you first of all go to CommissionCrowd and sign up there, because of course that's where you're going to find the opportunities. And I think, like you said earlier, it is about a partnership, and it is about really making sure that the company that you're going to go to set out with is able to provide you with the processes, because as a commission only salesperson, you are very much reliant on time, and of course if you're spending time doing stuff that doesn't directly make you money, it's going to be quite a hard process for you to continue to do. So you might feel that you're working for a company for free in essence. So I think it's about finding that balance of understanding that if you do get that commission, then you are making it's a partnership essentially, and the commission that you do get from working for that company, I don't know really how to put it, is it's much better than just getting paid an hourly wage. It's something that you've achieved together with that company. You've helped that company grow. You've closed that deal, and don't forget you can obviously work on many different projects. So it's overall for me just much more exciting to be involved in in different aspects with companies, and you're not just, as I mentioned before, just that kind of bum on a seat in the 9 to 5 world.
Fantastic. And talking about time, thank you very much for both of your time today. Really, really appreciate it. And I think, people are going to get a lot of value from this, from both the company side and the sales agent side. And I think I'll leave you now to go and have your meeting. And keep me posted. Love to hear,
absolutely.
The journey further, and we'll speak again soon.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ryan. Take care. Bye-bye.